Hey guys, alright, so in this video we're going to go over the build I've been playing. It's a build, it's a cast on crit arc build, using Spark to trigger everything pretty much. The build is heavily focused on using invocations. The arc invocation is pretty good, it gives you just 200% more damage. So basically we try to permanently sustain the lightning infusions and then just do cast on crit with arc, because arc has I don't know, I don't like the self-cast arc. It's a really slow cast time. It's not like multi-target, like, 360 AoE like something like Spark would be. It doesn't generate a lot of hits. In general, I think the cast on crit, proccing it with cast on crit is pretty good. Okay, so I'm playing Stormweaver. The main reason is that I wanted to play Stormweaver because it had like this remnant stuff. I was also interested in trying Chronomancer a little bit, see how that plays, but basically just the reason why I'm playing Stormweaver. Someone's probably going to ask, why aren't you playing this in this class, right? Because I wanted to play Stormweaver pretty much. But yeah, you can play this build, this setup, on pretty much any Ascendancy. I would say that's, can reach the spell stuff and that kind of stuff. Probably like Blood Mage or even Deadeye would be good as well. Okay, so let's talk about how the build is working. First of all, let's talk about how we're generating our remnants. So right now, I'm using two triggers, pretty much. We have one Spell Slinger trigger. Spell Slinger is coming from the new wand base, the Dueling Wand. So this wand base gives you the Spell Slinger thing. It's basically like one of the invocations. Well, it is an invocation, right? Once the energy fills up, then you actually have to kind of press it, right? So if I cast a bit, you'll see that I'm generating these invocation charges, and if I actually push the button, then it fires them all off. The good thing about this is that it is a instant cast, so there's no cast time. You can cast it while you are casting different abilities, right? So if I just hold down both buttons, like my Spark and the Orb of Storms, both of them are just gonna, it's gonna continuously go off. So this, you can see, generates tons and tons and tons of these remnants. So this is pretty much all of our remnant sustain. You can numlock this as well, so basically it's automated if you, go that far. Or you can just hold two buttons down or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much our remnant sustain. You do need a little bit of increased, how would you say, distance of picking up the remnants for it to kind of feel good in some cases, but that's pretty much all. Our remnant sustain is just Orb of Storms with overabundance, so we get one extra limit, and that's just we're just casting so fast that we're generating permanent lightning infusions. Okay, so after that we're just using Spark to trigger our arcs. I have two of them inside my cast on crit right now. This is kind of something that I think I'll probably have to like fiddle around with quite a bit. What is going to be the optimal cast on crit setup and links. This is what I found worked out the best so far for me, is having two high level arcs inside your cast on crit, and then having efficiency, and then I have my Rekiata's Flow in the arc setup, and then DL's Desire in here as well. If you want your Spark to actually do the majority of the damage, you can move these two into Spark and then swap this around, put something else here, but I think it works out better for arc to be doing the main damage. Okay, so let's talk about the gear. So I originally was running this on Archmage, but the mana cost was like way too much, and even now without running Archmage I can still have some mana issues. But basically, if I ran Archmage, I had to invest into mana and all this kind of stuff. That was a little bit more damage than my current setup now, but now that I got rid of Archmage, I could use all those other passive points or gear slots and all that kind of stuff, affix slots, to use other, for other stats, and ended up actually gaining quite a lot of defense. My energy shield is like double than it was before. I was at like 4k ES before. Now with this setup, it's actually a lot easier to gear up. We don't have to worry about getting mana on all of our gear, right? We can get some nice energy shield items. And we can use passive points that were used on like increased mana or mana regen, that kind of stuff, for other stats, because we don't really need as much now that we're not running Archmage. It ends up being a better overall, I think. Okay, so let's talk about the gear. So first of all, let's talk about the wand. The base type we need is going to be the Dueling Wand. So you need this base. It has to be this base type. And then we want to get, first of all, we need the plus level of lightning, and then the critical hit chance, and then either crit damage bonus or cast speed as the third suffix. And then, so those mods are like some of the most important ones. And then after that, you can get damages extra, or you can get increased over here as well. So that's the wand. They're pretty easy to craft with the new essence that gives you +3 to all elemental skills. I mean, all spell skills. So this is actually really cheap, under divine probably to make this. I mean, I got pretty lucky on the unveil, but anyways. And then after that, for the socket, right now I'm just trying this out, but you can put whatever you want here. Ideally, you want to get the +1 all spell skills, but I don't really want to socket that in only a +3 wand, so I'm probably going to buy a better one and then kind of upgrade it there. But anyways, the +2 is pretty cheap, and it's actually works out pretty good. Very nice for clear. Okay, so let's talk about the helmet. So for the helmet, we need a helmet with 2 rune sockets. It actually you need 2. That's because we need to get a lot of this increased cost efficiency to kind of lower our mana costs. Otherwise, we're just not gonna have enough mana to actually sustain the cast on crit setup. Okay, so you can drop bases that have 2 slots now, so you can use those and craft them. It's actually pretty easy to craft a decent helmet. Or you can just live search one with 2 slots. Like usually they'll end up being corrupted like this. This one actually turned out pretty good, I think. Anyways, so make sure you get 2 slots and then have the increased cost efficiency runes in here. And then after that, let's see. So amulet. Okay, so let's talk about the amulet. So for the amulet, the main important thing here is going to be the level of all spell skills and then the spirit. So those are the 2 things we need. How much spirit do we need? And you can see we are going to be running cast on crit, so that's pretty much 100 spirit that we get from the campaign, and then as a bonus you would run convalescence. This is only 30. And then after that, if you want to run other things like clarity, or I'm actually going to look for a tame beast with like a haste aura, so then you can get some extra spirit. So basically the bare minimum is actually nothing, because you don't really actually need convalescence, but you probably die every now and then, maybe. I actually don't even really use this anymore. 30 extra spirit, right, is like the bare minimum, I would say. Okay, so the focus here, we want to get plus level all skills, crit strike chance, and cast speed, and then lightning damage, spell damage, and then lots of energy shield, pretty much. Rings here too, they're going to be something like this, pretty much cast speed, all elemental resistances. Remnants have an increased effect as a nice unveil you can get. You get mana regen, get flat mana, get rarity, all that kind of good stuff here. Body armor, we don't need to get spirits. We can go for a nice ES armor. Mine's pretty bad, but you know, is what it is. Then for the gloves too, there is basically with the same thing with the helmet is basically you actually eventually want to get a 2-socket glove and get the essence for the increased effective socket items, and then put the cast speed in here, so you get like what, 48% cast speed in your gloves. Can be kind of insane. But other than that, basically just generic energy shield, crit energy shield gear, pretty much. Okay, so for the belt, we're going to be using the Darkness Enthroned. Now this isn't actually even kind of needed, but this belt is probably best in slot until you get something like a Headhunter, if you want to get one of those. But with this one we can get there's 2 options, or 3 I would say. So the first one is one I'm using now. This is the glove slot, so that we can use the cast speed and then the increased effective arcane surge. Okay, so that is the one I'm using right now for the glove. The other one that's really good is going to be the helmet, because then you can socket in 2 more of these cost efficiency runes. So if you're having mana issues, then get the helmet, and then you can socket in 2 more of these for another up to 40% cost efficiency. That's crazy, right? Okay, so that's another one, and the other one, last one's probably gonna be boot, right? Because right now I don't have a lot of movement speed, right? So if you want to get fast, then probably going for the boot with double movement speed is gonna be pretty good, I think. Okay, for our offhand, we are going to be using the Sigil of Power. So get one staff with Sigil of Power. Pretty much, that's pretty much it. Okay, let's go over the gems. So first of all, we'll cover the Spellslinger Link. The Spellslinger is going to be, first of all, a level 3 Orb Storms, or lowest level you can. Then we need Harmonic Remnants. This is mainly just here so we can pick them up from further away, pretty much. Yeah. Then overabundance, we can actually have 2 of these Orbistorms at once. And then efficiency. Alright, Sigil Power, nothing really important here. You can go check the links out in the planner. As for Spark, I'm using Rapid Casting, Acceleration, Efficiency, Mobility, and Pinpoint Critical. Pretty much the only damage link in here is Rapid Casting, sort of. This is, I guess, sort of a slight DPS increase, but if you configure Spark to do damage, it'll probably do like around 1 million DPS in POB. What's that? And then, let's see, Mana Tempest. This is pretty cool. So this, instead of Archmage, basically this is giving us even more benefit than Archmage because it's like 100% of damage is lightning damage. And we get +4 splits. So you basically use this for DPS or for when you're trying to clear. Basically, you just pop this for a little bit and then shoot some sparks out, and pretty much everything around you is going to die because of all the amount of splits. Because your sparks will split, the arcs, the double arcs are also going to split. It's just insane. Okay, so I'm supporting it with this, the Uthred's Omen. So this gives it plus levels, because plus levels gives increases the amount of lightning damage we get. Then also lightning mastery. Okay, cast on crit. This is the main damage dealer here. I do actually need to get another level 20 here. So we have 2 arcs, pretty much. And then the nice thing is that you don't need to give them any kind of gem links, right? So you just have to like buy them, quality them, corrupt them, pretty much. So it's pretty easy to get the level 21s. And then we need efficiency, Rakiata's Flow, and then Diala's Desire. Now, if you don't have these gems, I think first of all you want to prioritize getting the Rakiata's Flow, and then Diala's Desire. If you don't have these, instead of Diala's Desire, you probably use Zenith 2 over here to help with the mana. Otherwise, you can use things like Considered Casting, or the Deliberation one, the one that gives you like 20% more damage. Okay, and then Convalescence, pretty much Flame Wall. I actually don't even use this, but you can just use whatever. You can use the Fortress thing. It's an extra button, but I don't really even push this anymore, so I'm not using it. Alright, so let's go over the passive tree. So first of all, we'll go over the jewels. All of your jewels are going to be something like this. Max ES, crit damage, crit chance, magnitude of ailments, you get mana on kill maybe. That's pretty much all the jewels. I'm using one of these Heart of the Wells with mana efficiency and lucky lightning damage. Pretty much the 2 mods I was looking for. I guess the mana cost efficiency is the more important one, I would say. And then I'm also using a From Nothing with Eldritch Battery, but this isn't super valued now because this is like when I was playing the Archmage setup, when there was a lot of good Archmage nodes around here. Now I'm not actually playing Archmage, and you can see, like, if we go in POB real quick, this is only like, what, 5% DPS, right? This is only like 4% DPS. So the value here kind of goes down a little bit since we're not playing Archmage, so you don't actually need this. I'll say if you don't have this jewel, then just path and get the crit, and then just forget about these 2 nodes, pretty much. Okay, so that's that. And then, yeah, that's the tree, guys. I mean, it's like the remnant stuff is something I'm still kind of not really 100% sure about, but if it is multiplying the 200% more damage, then definitely worth to grab these. Okay, and as for that, after I level, I'll just kind of go like this, pretty much. Okay, so as far as leveling, I have a few leveling setups that this is like my league start setup, pretty much, right? I was playing Archmage, right? So I'd say you could try this. This worked for me when I was leveling. This is my league start setup, pretty much. Definitely okay to follow. I mean, there's probably some things you can do to sort of fix it. Like, I don't think you need Archmage. I would probably just run, well, you can't even run Cast on Crit at this point, I think. Or maybe at this point on early maps you could run Cast on Crit, but like this area here you probably can't, right? So yeah, you basically just level with Spark, Orbs, and Orbistorms, pretty much. But yeah, you could figure something out. But these trees and the gearing should work out okay. You noticed I was playing crit to start off with because we get the Effigy of Cruelty. This gives us a crit weakness, and then the Beacon of Asses. This means our crits ignore monster resistances, so pretty strong combination, I'd say, these two items for leveling. Alright guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.